is that my husband, he deeply mattered on a multitude of levels, so much so that it proved even more once he was assassinated how much of a peacemaker he was. That man, that young man, I forgive him. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, like over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote me on that because I think it just keeps like bumping up like crazy.
And who could forget that glittering pantsuit moment, with jewels stacked from knuckle to knuckle, turning heads for all the wrong reasons. Erika Kirk has gone viral again and again, with critics pointing to a string of moments caught on camera that sparked serious debate online. And today, we're looking at some of the most talked about moments people still can't stop discussing. Starting at number 1, many people still talk about that leaked TPUSA call, where Erika reportedly spoke about merchandise sales and donations, while referring to her husband's funeral in a way many found deeply surprising. The audio, which surfaced through commentary tied to Candace Owens on January 27th, sent social media into a frenzy and had people asking tough questions almost overnight. To understand why the reaction was so intense, many pointed out the timing. The conference call reportedly happened just 11 days after Charlie's very public passing, and soon after, another call surfaced, pushing even more debate into the spotlight. For critics, it wasn't just the smile, the visible emotion, or the now heavily discussed line that everyone grieves differently.
Hey everybody, I still love all these emoji Zoom things. Wow. I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, like it's just insane. We had over 275,000 people that attended, and the stadium, overflow, Westgate, insane, you guys. And then you have, was it 100 million?
Over.
You guys that heard the gospel and all about Charlie and all about everything that you guys do, and the hard work of Turning Point USA is insane. We had thousands that were registered to vote. I think we're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote me on that because I think it just keeps like bumping up like crazy. But I just wanted to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to the events team, the development team, the graphic design team, the production team. It's just phenomenal. They're incredible.
It was the pace of everything that raised eyebrows. Barely 2 weeks later, there were reports of calls to get everyone back to work, pushing forward harder than ever, no pause, no slowdown, just momentum. Supporters argued she was trying to hold the organization together during a chaotic moment, but critics pushed back, saying grief and business updates can be a difficult mix, especially when calls for an immediate return to work came so soon. And that's where the controversy exploded, because people weren't just reacting to what was said, they were reacting to how it looked, how fast it happened, and what it seemed to signal. Either way, many say those calls were never meant to leave that Zoom room, but once they surfaced, the scrutiny only grew louder. And that brings us to another controversy people have not stopped talking about: Erika Kirk and the wardrobe moments that sparked non-stop reaction online.
That is. Sorry, this is a little bit more informal than probably Charlie would be reacting. How sweet. I didn't know they could do that. I hate Zoom. I never like Zoom. Sorry, you guys. I just wanted to say first and foremost, my heart obviously is broken for you guys as much as it is for our family. You guys lost not only a boss, but someone that you looked up to, someone that you believed in his mission, that you also that you loved. You loved listening to his show. You loved hearing his wisdom on things. I'm sure some of you have also had very personal moments of where you sat down and
had private conversations with him. I want you all to hold on to those. And I want you all to remember those so deeply. I want you to journal about them. I want you to be able to tell your kids about them. I want you to put those in your heart as why you're still here with the Turning Point USA family.
Reports circulated that she went shopping just a day after Charlie's passing, and that alone fueled intense speculation. Some assumed it may have been for memorial attire, but what followed is what really kept people talking. When Erika appeared at the memorial in a white pantsuit instead of the darker colors traditionally associated with mourning, critics immediately began debating the message it sent. Then came that highly discussed gold sequin pantsuit at AmFest, with bright stage lights, pyrotechnics, and a look many said felt more red carpet than remembrance. Online reaction exploded. Some defended it as confidence under pressure, while others saw it as deeply out of step with the moment. Either way, the internet had opinions. Months later, her appearance on The Megyn Kelly Show stirred another wave of chatter. This time over a black lace pantsuit some critics called too bold for someone still publicly presenting herself in grief. Then came the leather pants appearance at the University of Mississippi event, and once again, social media lit up with debate.
I've been so scared in my entire life because the information I am about to expose right now is going to completely ruin Erika Kirk's entire story. I can't even believe I'm filming this. So I got an email today from someone that works at Aloe. I'm going to, of course, keep their identity anonymous. This person emailed me, and I'll put it on the screen, that they work at Aloe, and they looked up Erika's account. And it appeared that she had spent over $1,000 buying Aloe clothing the day after Charlie was... I can't remember everything she bought, but it was all black clothing. Obviously, it's not that important, but I personally found it super sketchy. I also don't know. And then she says something about where Erika lives. I'm not going to include that. You can see it clear as day on the receipt, which I will show you guys for transparency, that Erika Francevey, her maiden name, purchased $1,043.30 worth of clothing.
And that leads right into another viral moment people still analyze, that hug with J.D. Vance. Erika said she simply placed her hand behind his head while offering a prayer. But critics questioned the moment, especially after clips of it reportedly became harder to find online. That only added more speculation. Even more interesting to some observers was the contrast. Just before that moment, Erika had spoken emotionally about how no one could replace Charlie. So when viewers saw her appearing unusually familiar with a major political figure so soon after, many started drawing their own conclusions. Then attention swung back again to that AmFest speech, not just because of what she wore, but because of a phrase people kept replaying. Critics fixated on how she referred to Charlie's passing, with some arguing her wording sounded strangely prepared before she quickly corrected herself. That brief moment became a major talking point, with online commentators dissecting every word. Some claimed it suggested she may have anticipated dramatic changes ahead. Others said people were reading far too much into a slip of the tongue during an emotional speech.
Give me, did you see people didn't understand the hug that you and JD had? They went to the weirdest places, Erika.
Oh my gosh. You guys, please. So for those of you who know me, I'm a very, hug is
Yes,
like.
you're an intense hugger. It's
Whoever
awesome.
is like hating on a hug needs a hug themselves. I will give you a free hug anytime you want a hug. My love language is touch, if you will. But seriously, that hug. So I will give you a play-by-play. Like walking, they just played the emotional.
If your first reaction to this clip was, it's just a hug, there's nothing weird about it, then you can direct your commentary to the Turning Point USA YouTube page, where I couldn't find this clip anywhere. Where is this clip? I had to dig and dig and dig to secondary sources because they've scrubbed it for some reason.
But the questions kept coming. Was it simply awkward phrasing under pressure? Was it grief speaking in an imperfect moment? Or did the rapid rise that followed make people revisit everything with new suspicion? That's what has kept this conversation alive. Because beyond the outfits, the speeches, and the viral clips, critics say what really raised eyebrows was how quickly Erika appeared to step into a larger spotlight. Her growing public role, the visibility, the confidence, the timing. For some, it all felt unusually fast. Supporters call it resilience. Critics call it questionable. And that divide has only made every appearance more heavily watched. No one knows for certain what any of it means.
Might work to forget about the death and their feelings and emotions. This is how Erika Kirk grieves. She sets up a replica of where Charlie dies so that people can take pictures in front of it. To the left is a merchandise booth where people can go ahead and buy some merch so that they can remember how Charlie died. If you are a grieving widow, please tell me this. Would you set up a replica of one of the most traumatizing events you've ever witnessed in your entire life? This is the one thing you would want to forget about, right? Erika also grieves by making 6 appearances on Fox News in 1 week, happily throwing merchandise to people in the crowd, wearing glittery pantsuits and lace outfits. Totally appropriate, I think. Always having fireworks and pyrokinetics as if it's some kind of celebration. Erika looks like she grieves by being really happy. How I'd be happy too if I became a millionaire. Not to mention this was her like a week and a half or 2 weeks after her husband died. And she's like laughing and caking on this podcast.
And much of it remains public speculation. But one thing is clear, her public moments have kept fueling conversation. And every new appearance seems to bring a brand new round of controversy. And the controversy didn't stop there. Beyond those leaked calls, many critics say some of the most debated moments around Erika Kirk came from the public image she began shaping in the months that followed. People still talk about those wardrobe choices that triggered non-stop online reaction. From the white pantsuit at the memorial, to the glittering gold look at Amfest, to the black lace appearance with Megyn Kelly, every appearance seemed to spark another round of debate. Some called it confidence, others called it controversial, but nobody seemed indifferent. Then came the leather pants moment at the University of Mississippi event, and right after that, the viral interaction with JD Vance took over social media. Erika said the gesture was simply part of a prayer, but critics continued analyzing every frame.
An employee of Turning Point, she has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Okay.
The fiery, mascara-laden eyes and Erika's cold, piercing gaze was all it took for the majority to leave comments about being scared of her or praying for protection from evil. It's puzzling, though, that Erika wants people to stop, but she forgave Tyler Robinson within 1 week, especially after people claimed footage became harder to find online. That only fueled more questions, and many observers kept going back to that Amfest speech. Not because of fashion this time, but because of one phrase people felt sounded oddly rehearsed before she corrected herself. Supporters dismissed it as a slip in an emotional moment. Critics called it unsettling. And that single moment became one of the most replayed clips in the wider controversy. Then things got even stranger for some viewers when attention turned to the Arizona conference that many still describe as one of the most controversial spectacles tied to the story. Critics pointed to the replica setup, merchandise displays, dramatic staging, and even fireworks as elements they felt crossed a line. Supporters called it tribute. Critics called it theatrical. The split was huge. And then there were the camera moments people still bring up. That intense stare, those fiery expressions, the clips that went viral with viewers saying they felt unsettled just watching. Online comments poured in, some dramatic, some exaggerated, but all feeding a growing aura of controversy around every public appearance. Another major flashpoint came when Erika called for people to stop certain theories and speculation. While critics questioned, how quickly she appeared willing to move forward in other areas. That contrast became another major talking point. And then came the emotional moments, maybe the most debated category of all. Critics focused heavily on those repeated eye dabs, the handkerchief moments, the visible pauses, the teary appearances many claimed looked overly staged. Supporters said grief looks different for everyone. Critics pushed back hard. And that phrase, "everyone grieves differently," kept getting dragged back into the spotlight. One particularly discussed appearance came during the State of the Union, where viewers compared visible emotion on stage and sparked another wave of online commentary. Then there was that drive-by emotional moment leaving the Phoenix event that instantly went viral. Another clip allegedly showed Erika preparing before walking on stage, which critics seized on immediately. But the moment that stirred perhaps the strongest reaction was that clip by Charlie's casket. Some called it intimate grief. Others questioned why such a private moment became public at all. And once again, the debate exploded. Then people revisited an interview with Jesse Waters, where Erika said she had been sleeping well without medication or alcohol not long after Charlie's passing. For many online, that remark triggered even more scrutiny. Some called it composure under pressure. Others thought it sounded unusually detached.
Beneath my husband's open casket, but you know what? Everybody's different. Here you can see Erika is caressing her husband's hand while holding the Medal of Freedom, I believe that is, that Trump awarded to Charlie posthumously. I didn't see anything wrong with this photo, but there are some people that think she is hamming it up for the cameras a bit too much. The argument being, it's one thing to be in mourning, right? That's a natural process, but when you have somebody following you around, making sure they capture you sobbing is something else entirely.
As if it couldn't. And just like everything else, opinions split fast. Then came another twist. When speculation around Charlie's passing intensified online, Erika said she had seen reports and urged people to stop spreading theories. At the time, some believed that meant she knew more than the public. Later, critics claimed those assumptions may have been overblown, which only created another layer of distrust in the discourse. And people also noticed what they saw as a shift in alliances. Critics questioned her associations with figures and outlets some believe Charlie may not have embraced. Names like Ben Shapiro and Nicki Minaj started getting pulled into the conversation. Then came interviews with major outlets, including appearances linked to CBS News and even coverage from the New York Times. And critics said it all seemed like part of a broader repositioning. Supporters argue she was simply navigating impossible circumstances under a microscope. Critics say the pattern raises too many questions to ignore, and that's why these moments continue to circulate. Because for many watching, it's not any one clip, one outfit, one interview, or one speech that keeps the story alive. It's the accumulation of moments.
With the murder of your husband. And yet there are a huge number of conspiracy theories, you might call them brain rot, that are spreading right now online about the actual story behind the reality. One, people say that Tyler Robinson was actually a MAGA Republican. Or two, some people say you were actually a Mossad agent sitting in front of me, and you were Charlie's handler and Israel Charlie. Right. Other people say that a number of men in the crowd were wearing maroon T-shirts, and this signifies that his was an elite airborne operation, whatever that means. They say that the rings on your fingers, which are
my kids' initials, my wedding band, the Medal of Freedom, my engagement ring.
But apparently they symbolize some kind of secret plot. There's also a new theory that Egyptian aircraft have been tracking you. What is going on? Why are there so many conspiracies spreading about what seems to be a pretty open and shut case?
This is the first time that we have seen evil on display where we have social media at our fingertips. Something so evil that happened, people are wanting answers immediately. They are wanting to figure out how to wrap their mind around this. Egyptian planes. Egyptian planes.
Do you believe that Tyler Robinson, your husband?
Yes, I do.
Why do you think it is so hard for so many people to believe that reality?
Because it's too simple.
The timing, the optics, the symbolism, the contradictions people think they see, all of it keeps feeding the mystery. Was it resilience under pressure? Was it image management? Was it misunderstood grief playing out in public? No one knows for sure. But one thing is clear. the controversies surrounding Erika's rise have kept people watching every move more closely than ever. And if you thought those controversies were intense, many say the deeper questions start when people look beyond the headlines and into how fast Erika Kirk moved into a larger spotlight after Charlie's passing. For critics, this is where the story shifts from isolated viral moments into a broader pattern.
Every single thing, and you know what? God is so good, you let it roll right off your back. And this is what's so beautiful about this moment, because if the internet wants to clip it, who cares? I love this woman. She's an amazing woman. She has a soul and a heart for the Lord. And words are words, but I know her heart, and it doesn't even matter. And you say what you want to say because I know your heart.
Right now, Black culture is being held captive by influences, songs,
People continue to debate. One of the biggest questions raised has been about timing. Again and again, commentators point out how quickly Erika seemed to transition from grieving widow to central public figure. Speeches multiplied, appearances grew, media interviews stacked up, and before long, many felt she wasn't just preserving Charlie's legacy. She was actively stepping into a larger role of her own. Supporters call that strength under pressure. Critics call it something far more calculated, and many point to how polished it all appeared. The camera angles, the dramatic pauses, the speeches filled with emotional crescendos, even the way major appearances seemed staged for maximum impact. Some observers said it felt less spontaneous and more like a carefully managed rollout. Whether fair or not, that perception only fueled more suspicion. Then there were those moments where Erika's tone seemed to shift dramatically depending on the audience. In one setting, she appeared solemn and emotional. In another, fiery and commanding. In another, almost celebratory. Critics argued those shifts felt jarring. Supporters said public figures naturally adapt to the room. But once people started noticing it, they couldn't stop noticing it. Some online even revisited older clips, trying to trace whether signs of ambition were visible long before recent events. Every old interview got re-examined. Every speech got picked apart. Every gesture became a clue in theories people kept building. And then there's the leadership question.
I mean, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old Black girls. I don't think that songs that are talking about, like, glorifying wet female genitalia is exactly, I don't know which one wrote that song. Which one was it?
I think it was Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but by the way, the role models of the 1940s and 50s for Black America were completely different.
So it is a representation issue.
Hold on a second. No, representation.
Critics ask how someone relatively new to this level of influence appeared to consolidate so much visibility so fast. They point to internal reshuffling, public messaging changes, and Erika's increasingly central role at major events. For supporters, that simply reflected necessity in a moment of crisis. For critics, it raised a very different question. Was this emergence reactive, or was it always heading this way? That question intensified after several highly discussed speeches where Erika didn't just honor Charlie's vision, she often seemed to speak with authority about where things were heading next. Some praised that as stepping up. Others felt she was moving too quickly from guardian of a legacy into architect of a new one. And people noticed another pattern too, the symbolism. Critics obsessed over imagery, the lighting, the entrances, the dramatic staging, the repeated references to destiny, purpose, continuation. Some called it inspirational messaging. Others said it felt almost myth-building. And in the world of viral controversy, symbolism can become its own story. Then came the growing chatter about image management. Every interview choice seemed scrutinized. Why this platform and not that one? Why this journalist? Why this event? Why these talking points? Critics began arguing that nothing seemed accidental anymore. Even simple appearances started getting interpreted as strategic moves. One moment many still bring up was how often Erika spoke about carrying Charlie's mission forward while simultaneously appearing to put a more personal stamp on that mission. Critics saw tension there. Was it continuity or transformation? Was she preserving something or reshaping it? That question alone has fueled endless debate. And then there's what many call the contradiction factor. Erika often calls for unity and moving forward. Yet many of her most viral moments emerge from conflict and controversy. That contradiction has become a huge talking point. Critics say it creates distrust. Supporters say it reflects the impossible pressures of living under constant attack. Another layer people keep discussing is how Erika handles criticism itself. Instead of shrinking from backlash, she often appears to lean into visibility even more. More speeches, more interviews, bigger stages. For some, that signals confidence. For others, it only deepens suspicion. Then there's the emotional intensity people keep circling back to. Some viewers say her delivery can feel highly performative, with dramatic pauses and near-theatrical emphasis that critics argue can come off more like persuasion than vulnerability. Others say that criticism is unfair and rooted in impossible expectations placed on women in public life. That debate remains fierce, and just when people think the controversy has cooled, another clip resurfaces, another old comment gets revisited, another public appearance triggers fresh speculation. That's why this story keeps refusing to fade. Some of the strongest criticism has centered on whether Erika's rise represents devotion or ambition. And that may be the question at the heart of everything. Because nearly every controversy, from the speeches to the wardrobe debates to the emotional moments, seems to circle back to that same divide. Was she thrust into leadership and doing her best under extraordinary pressure? Or did these moments reveal someone fully prepared for a larger role all along? Depending on who you ask, the answer could not be more different. And there's another reason this keeps growing: the mystery factor. Critics often say what keeps people engaged is not what has been proven, but what feels unanswered. It's the gaps people think they see, the moments they feel don't quite add up, the pace of events they consider unusual. In controversy, unanswered questions often travel faster than answers. Even supporters admit one thing: Erika has become impossible to ignore. Whether viewed as resilient, controversial, misunderstood, or deeply polarizing, she has become central to a story much larger than a few viral moments. And maybe that's what makes this chapter so fascinating, because this isn't just about one speech, one outfit, or one headline anymore. It's about perception, power, grief, symbolism, and the way public figures can become lightning rods for narratives far beyond themselves. Critics keep asking whether every dramatic turn has been coincidence. Supporters say people are weaving patterns where none exist. But either way, the conversation keeps growing. And some say the most disturbing moments aren't even the viral clips everyone talks about. They're the quieter moments hidden in plain sight, the moments where tone shifts, where messaging changes, where symbolism feels loaded, where critics believe the real story may be sitting just beneath the surface. Because for many watching closely, the question is no longer whether Erika Kirk has sparked controversy. It's whether the controversy itself is revealing something bigger. And if the past months have shown anything, it's that every new appearance seems to raise even more questions than it answers. And many believe the moments still to come could be even more shocking than the ones already caught on camera. And that may be the biggest controversy of all, because many critics say the most unsettling questions surrounding Erika Kirk are not even tied to one viral clip or one headline, but to what they believe all these moments suggest when viewed together. And this is where the debate gets even more intense. Because for some observers, the concern has never been about a single outfit, a single speech, or one emotional moment caught on camera. It is about the pattern they believe has formed over time. People continue pointing back to the contrast between the values long associated with Charlie Kirk and the public path Erika appears to be carving now. Charlie was often linked to ideas about family, tradition, and a certain way of living. And critics argue Erika's nonstop public presence has sparked hard questions about whether that image is changing before everyone's eyes. Reports that she has been in the office constantly, appearing at events, leading meetings, giving speeches, and pushing forward at full speed have only intensified that conversation. Supporters say that looks like courage under pressure. Critics say it looks like someone stepping into power with remarkable ease. And that divide is what has made this story so explosive. Because once people began looking at all these moments side by side, many felt they were seeing something bigger than scattered controversy. Think about it. The leaked call critics still call deeply troubling. The remarks about donations and merchandise, the funeral language that sparked outrage, the replica event many called hard to understand, the glittering public appearances that ignited backlash, the emotional moments some called genuine and others called performative, the interviews, the growing spotlight, the rapid consolidation of visibility. For critics, they say it is impossible to ignore the pattern they believe all of that creates. Supporters completely reject that interpretation, of course. They say critics are taking painful moments and forcing them into a narrative that simply may not exist. They argue grief can look unconventional. Leadership can emerge suddenly. And surviving public tragedy often demands strength that outsiders misunderstand. And that is fair. That is why this remains so divisive. But critics push back and say the discomfort comes from how often symbolism seems to collide with sincerity. Because some ask, why did so many moments feel staged to them? Why did remembrance sometimes look to critics like spectacle? Why did grief sometimes seem intertwined with branding, events, or optics in ways some found jarring? Those are the questions people keep asking. And maybe the biggest reason those questions keep growing is because Erika has not faded from view. She has moved deeper into the spotlight. Some thought after the initial storm she might step back. Instead, many say she stepped forward. Bigger audiences, more speeches, more command, more visibility. And for critics, every new appearance seems to reinforce the belief that something larger is unfolding. Then there is the issue of legacy. Many observers say this is where emotions run highest. Because to some, this is not just about Erika at all. It is about whether Charlie's legacy is being preserved or transformed. And those are two very different things. Supporters say Erika is protecting what he built. Critics argue she is reshaping it. That disagreement alone has fueled endless debate. And when people point to moments like calling for relentless momentum just days after tragedy, or stepping into commanding roles so quickly, critics say it raises questions they cannot ignore. Was it necessity? Was it preparation? Was it instinct? Or was it something else entirely? No one knows. And that uncertainty is exactly what keeps the conversation alive. Then there is another layer many viewers keep discussing: ambition. This may be the most sensitive topic of all, because critics often say what unsettles them is not grief, but what they interpret as ambition appearing in the middle of grief. That is a powerful accusation, even a speculation, and supporters fiercely reject it. But the fact people debate it at all shows how much scrutiny surrounds every move. Even simple appearances become symbolic now. An outfit becomes a statement, a speech becomes a clue, a pause becomes a headline, a glance becomes a theory. That is the level this has reached, and many say the Arizona conference became a turning point in how people viewed everything, because critics argue that was the moment concern shifted into disbelief. The staging, the imagery, the reaction online. For many, it changed the tone of the conversation entirely. Then add in the repeated emotional moments that critics continue dissecting. The eye, dabs, the handkerchief clips, the mourning footage, the drive-by emotional scene, the tear speculation. Each one sparked debate on its own. Together, critics say they fed an image some found hard to reconcile. Again, supporters say that is deeply unfair. They say public grief under constant cameras will always be judged harshly. And they may have a point, but controversy thrives where ambiguity lives, and there has been plenty of ambiguity here. Then there's what some call the contradiction problem, calling for people to stop speculation while controversies keep expanding, speaking about humility while appearing in increasingly high-profile settings, invoking sacrifice while critics say branding keeps surfacing. Those contradictions, real or perceived, have become central to the criticism. And once people believe they see contradictions, they start looking for more. That is how narratives grow. And maybe the most fascinating part is how split public reaction remains. Some see a woman surviving impossible circumstances and refusing to collapse. Others see someone they believe looks far too comfortable at the center of tragedy. Same person, same footage, completely different interpretations. That is what makes this story so gripping, because it has become a mirror for what people choose to believe. And many critics say one detail still bothers them more than anything: how fast Erika's authority seemed to expand. Not months or years later, almost immediately. That pace alone has fueled countless theories. Supporters say crisis demanded leadership. Critics say the speed still feels extraordinary. And once that question gets asked, it touches everything else. Was she stepping up or stepping into something already waiting? Again, nobody knows. But people keep asking. And that is why even older moments keep resurfacing. Old interviews, old speeches, old clips people once ignored. Everything is being revisited through a new lens. And often in controversy, that is when a story takes on a life of its own, because it stops being about events and becomes about interpretation. And some say that is exactly where this has landed. Not proof, not certainty, but a growing sense among critics that something feels unresolved. And unresolved stories hold attention longer than answered ones. Then there is the question critics keep circling back to: are people becoming conspiracy-minded, or simply noticing patterns they feel others dismiss? That may be the biggest divide of all. because one side says the speculation has gone too far, the other says skepticism is healthy, and somewhere in between sits a story still unfolding in real time. And maybe that is what makes this final chapter so powerful. It forces a question bigger than Erika herself. How do people distinguish genuine leadership from image management? How do people separate grief from performance when cameras are always rolling? How do people judge symbolism without projecting onto it? Those are difficult questions, and maybe that is why this conversation refuses to die down, because it touches trust, perception, power, legacy, image, and the uneasy space where all those collide. Critics say when they add it all up, something feels off. Supporters say what feels off may simply be people misreading trauma, and maybe both perspectives reveal something important. But one thing is impossible to deny. Erika Kirk has become one of the most polarizing figures people cannot stop discussing. Every appearance sparks analysis. Every speech gets dissected, every gesture is watched, and very few public figures generate that kind of scrutiny unless something about the story has captured people at a deeper level. So what do you think? Are critics connecting dots that are not really there? Or are they paying attention to something others overlook? Were these moments misunderstood or genuinely disturbing? And which one raised the biggest red flag for you? The calls, the replica event, the emotional moments, the symbolism, the rise to power? Let us know down in the comments, because this debate is far from over, and your take may change how others see it. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more, share this with someone following the story, and drop your thoughts below because I read the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.